Welcome back to Twin Flame Psychic 1111. I'm Karen. Thank you so much for joining me here today. So we're back with another channeled message from Spirit about your divine union. What do you really need to know right now? What is really going on in your union? So you really met each other at a time where you were both, as individuals, were struggling so much, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. A lot of this was to do with feeling very alone, very isolated, very misunderstood, and therefore feeling like you had to just sort of carry all of this weight by yourself, because it was such deep things that you're carrying the weight of, like you wouldn't have even known where to start explaining that to others. You're both so incredibly deep. A lot of this weight is you both have this ability to be aware of a lot of things, or just hold a lot of different energies, even if you are unaware of them. A lot in the subconscious and a lot in the conscious as well. You could both resonate with being perfectionists. It's like you wanted order, you wanted control of your thoughts. This made you feel safer because at times perhaps you could have dealt with a lot of anxiety, so your thoughts could have been all over the place. So subconsciously you wanted to stay in control of your thoughts and emotions and feelings. So that was a lot of pressure, a lot to hold together. And like I said, you just felt like no one, how could you express this so anyone understood? A lot of this you were doing unconsciously, like you've been doing it from such a young age. Taking responsibility is coming through as well. Like you could have felt responsible for others. So your needs, you had to sort of push into your subconscious, or avoid, or sort of abandon yourselves, avoid your own needs, or and I do feel like they were in the subconscious, like you didn't even know what your needs were. Putting others' needs first, trying to be a perfectionist, I feel like there was like emotional neglect, and I feel it's literally just because others probably were in the same patterns, like they learnt to sort of suppress their needs and their emotions and their thoughts, and sort of bury like their true self and just operate on a surface level. So when you were born into this world, they couldn't support you emotionally because they hadn't been supported emotionally. There's like a repression of the emotions. So this was like all of these emotions within you that were accumulating. It's like you'd subconsciously stuffed them down into the subconscious, and it was like this huge accumulation within you both as individuals of heaviness, a heavy weight, a huge heavy weight. And there's like so much in the darkness of the subconscious. How could you have expressed your needs when you didn't really know what they were? But you met at a time when you're both just really struggling under the weight of all of that. This could have accumulated for some of you. It could have manifested, for some of you in external circumstances. Like the internal manifested as the external, or the external was reflecting how you subconsciously felt within, so that when it appeared in the external, in some sort of very challenging situations where you were taking responsibility for others, perhaps as well as all your own responsibilities, and those other responsibilities for others weren't your things to carry. You could have been carrying a lot of heaviness, a lot of weight. You may have been going through severe adversity in all kinds of different ways for different people. You could have been in an abusive situation for some of you and not able to tell anyone. This is how you felt your whole life. Like you couldn't go to anyone because of that emotional abandonment. Others couldn't express emotions, or they were afraid to express emotions, like your caregivers or parents or family. So you couldn't go to them. They would make you feel rejected, for your emotions. They couldn't handle that amount of stuff because they hadn't known, or they hadn't been taught how to handle their own emotions within themselves. So you may have subconsciously thought or believed that it made you more lovable or more acceptable or more competent to just deal with everything by yourself. But you both came to some sort of breaking point. It was becoming way too heavy. You'd both been in this cycle or this pattern of doing everything by yourselves, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders for too long. The divine was putting you both into some sort of breaking point to force you both to release this tendency, to release a lot of things that you are holding on to that aren't yours to hold on to. This was so much heaviness. It was exhausting you both. It was seriously affecting like your mental health and emotional well-being. You're both very fearful that when you met. Could have been for different circumstances or different reasons. For some of you, it could be the same, or there was a lot of the same things. It could have, for some of you, happened also around the time of everything that was going on in the world around 2020 and beyond. For some of you, that could resonate, like everything was just accumulating and everything was becoming way too much. And it was because the divine was forcing you to break down. You needed to break down. You're both always were wanting to hold everything together. This was your comfort zone. This became the walls around you, the density holding everything together. I feel like this is a symptom of you both being put into subconscious positions of being overly responsible for others your whole lives and not being able to let things fall apart. But the divine was forcing you both to fall apart by bringing you each other as well. Like you were at rock bottom, or you're facing so much heaviness, so much adversity, you couldn't handle it any longer. So the divine also brought you together so that the love, the holy love, because you both experienced the divine through each other, through this bond as well. The love could hold you both when you couldn't hold everything together any longer. You held each other, you and your divine counterpart, and through each other, the divine held you. In a divine womb, in the safety of love, the most powerful force, you could let so much go. You could let the ground fall from beneath your feet. You could let the walls around you crumble. Because now you are held in love. This is what your divine counterpart has provided for you and what you've provided for them. This is why you love each other, beyond words, beyond what I could describe in words. But it's a love where there's just such a deep understanding on so many deep subconscious levels as well, resonance and knowing. It's like you didn't even have to speak the words physically. You could just know. Your souls just knew, even if your conscious selves didn't know, that you're going through the same thing. You've been through the same things. You're in this metamorphosis together. Your divine counterparts now holding each other's hands, so to speak, every step of the way through this metamorphosis, through the uncomfortable breaking down of all the heaviness so that you can come into freedom. And it happens in stages. But this is so incredible. This holy love, the most powerful love. Like deep down. Because sometimes, or recently, you may have both been going through some doubts on that heaviness coming up again. But deep down, you both always know that this love is so powerful, so real. You are one. There's nothing to fear, because look how much you've already changed, transformed, grown, become more confident, healed. You both have healed in so many ways, and it's because your soul trusts in the love, so you feel stable within that to be able to let things go so that you can heal, letting go of a lot of negative self-image as well, and fears that are purposefully instilled within us, within humanity, the fears that cause us to go into survival mode, and therefore, we cling on to safety. This is how we're purposely disempowered in this world, by the few that are trying to control the masses, so that we're disempowered and more easily controlled. We hold on to what we're told life should look like and how we should live our lives, and like the checkpoints, or what's the word? The rites of passage, or whatever, how our lives are supposed to look. That's been heavily programmed into us all. With each other, and again, it's on such a subconscious level, you are becoming free. You're breaking down all kinds of things that are limiting your souls, that are making you feel stuck and imprisoned, and feeling all of the heaviness of the walls surrounding you, closing in on you, of the false matrix. Your souls had outgrown that. Basically, your souls were ready to start becoming so liberated, and this is how you feel with each other. You are beyond the veil. You experience the higher dimensions whilst in human form, like you experience this within yourselves. Your auras have expanded, like you could literally feel your energies exuding out of you, much more. Like I'm seeing your auras are much bigger. You're not holding yourselves in fear. You're breaking free from the fear paradigms, the conditioning of fear, and returning to love, returning to your true selves. And again, it's just happening on so many different levels, these immense depths within that we're not even consciously aware of. It's just like the instinct of the soul, so to speak. It's the nature of the soul, the nature of the divine you're returning to, which is naturally free. And you just feel this with each other. You feel so uplifted, when you're aligned with the truth, with the heart, with the soul, and not the fearful mind. Naturally, the fearful mind will come up at times within your bond, but when you're aligned with your true nature, you're at one with each other, with your own souls, with the universe and all things that are real or undistorted, and you feel free, you feel euphoric, you feel so liberated. I had this amazing dream. In truth, it was astral travel the other morning, where I was just floating, or you could say flying, but really it was like floating towards my twin flame. And just the feeling of euphoria, excitement and liberation to be the free soul, or the astral body, without all of the heaviness of the physical body and all of the heaviness of the psychic weight, mental weight of all of that fear and delusion and gaslighting that we're born into and purposely manipulated by. And this is so deep, I could never explain all of this in words. I'm only touching the surface, barely touching the surface with this. It's so immense. We don't know hardly anything in this world. And it's because we've purposely been, they've purposely placed the blindfold over our eyes. But we feel, that's the thing, we feel how that is so out of alignment with the truth. We feel something is massively amiss. We're super empaths, so we feel the truth. With each other, you've united, and you're taken into that divine womb. It's the being held within the love, beyond the veil, beyond the false matrix and all the illusions. So you're able to feel intuitively the truth and starting to see and discern the truth, so that you're consciously aware of it so much more powerfully, much more easily since you've met each other. The love is so powerful. It's the most powerful thing. That it's the brightest light that shines on the shadows and illuminates the truth. This is why you feel so free. This is why you feel so abundant and happy and so loved. This is your true nature. And you are here in this world because you want everybody to feel this way. It's everybody's birthright, in truth, that's been stolen away from us. You're reclaiming your birthright as a soul, to be sovereign, to be the oneness, to be the wholeness. And as souls, you agreed before birth to come into this world and remember this in order to help the collective to remember as well and reclaim their wholeness that we've been cut off from. So you love each other completely because on so many deep levels, there's just a complete affinity, a complete understanding, so to speak, like the intuitive souls just know. You light each other up, you bring each other back to life, you energize each other, you fill each other with excitement. The remedy, I'm hearing, the exact opposite of all of the shadows and the manipulations put out there to cause us to be fearful and diminished. You're empowering each other, you're lifting each other up, you're expanding each other. It really is the most powerful force. And there are those, the few, in this world who I do believe are operating with darker forces, all of which is hidden from us. But again, we can feel it. We know the truth. We're just taught in this world to think the truth is what our eyes see or what we can hear with our physical ears. This is all a huge repression of our true nature, a distortion of our true nature. But you're becoming undistorted, if that's the word. You're returning to who you really are. And there are those that are trying to hijack this. They know, they know that there are divine beings that are working very closely together in the high dimensions and with super empaths to uplift the consciousness of this world and liberate everyone. There are those few that are trying to control the masses, they know that. So they're trying to hijack that whole rescue operation, so to speak. And again, you just really feel this, even though it can sound really like delusional and crazy to our conditioned minds. It seems really out there. Intuitively, it feels right. Intuitively, it's making a lot of sense of why everyone in this world has felt so repressed, depressed, fearful. There's all this conflict and unconsciousness, and everything's a mess, okay? Everything's a mess when it's out of alignment with the truth. The simple truth is the love, is the light, is the feelings of bliss that come from all of that, and stability. So this is what's happening on a mass scale as well. Like I said at the start of this channeling, you and your person, you met each other when you're at breaking point, when you couldn't handle the heaviness any longer. This is what's happening on the collective. All of this chaos is the breaking down, and those that are trying to control the masses, trying to cling on to their failing attempts to keep everyone in the dark. So there's a lot of chaotic energy. It really is like that spiritual warfare. But what is happening for you as individuals and within your bond, the metamorphosis, it's happening right now. You've met each other at this time in Earth's history, because it's also the exact time it's in alignment with this happening in the collective. So if you've appreciated this channeling, please consider buying me a hot chocolate by leaving a super thanks in the comments below. All donations are humbly appreciated. Thank you so much to everyone who's already donated and sent a super thanks in the comments. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for joining me here. If this has resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. Give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe. That all really helps me out with the algorithm. Thank you so much and take care. Bye.